Hello. So I've had a few random questions about Wayne and what is going on with Wayne, and why he's got a cone on, why he's had surgery, he's just a puppy, what's going on with him. Yeah, lots of random questions. I know I've made random, updates from Postwise, but I guess it's a little bit easier to explain in a video, I guess. I don't know. That's what I'm trying at least. So basically, I got Wayne in November, and he is very much the runt of the family, and I understand that runts sometimes have health issues. So I kind of knew what I was taking on when I got him. To a degree, I did not realize how expensive dogs were, but I have no regrets because I am like so thankful for him. The only regret I have is that I'm stuck in an apartment building, but that's not something that I can change. Not right now, at least. Anyways, when I first got Wayne, I noticed that he had a little lump on his head. Um, and I just, I wasn't super concerned about it. I talked to some friends and I talked to other dog people, and I was just like, he's got this lump on his head. And they're like, it's probably nothing. So then, anyways, when he got his last set of shots, I kind of talked to the vet about it, and the vet looked at it and was like, you know what, it doesn't look concerning. Yeah, sure, it's a little bald spot. And she was like, it doesn't actually feel like a bump, though, either. It just looks like a bald spot, like no hair. I thought it felt like a bump. But she basically was like, it seems perfectly fine. If it turns red or it looks like it's irritated, do come in, because that would be a concern. But if it continues as it is, no concern. So a few months ago, I noticed there was another one, but at the side of his head kind of thing. So basically one in the middle of his forehead above his eye and one kind of near the side of his eye. And so I was like, okay, now there's two. And Dog Mom moment, he's the first dog I've really ever had. And I just kind of had panics of what if he has cancer? What if my dog is the one dog that is a puppy and has that chance of cancer and is gonna die? And my friends are all like, the vet told you the other one wasn't concerning, don't worry, when you go to get him fixed, get it checked out. And so that was where I was at too. I was just sort of yeah, when I get him fixed, I'll get it checked out again. But then a few weeks ago, he had must have scratched them or something like that, and they were red, and irritated, both of them. And so I was like, okay, I guess I'm gonna have to go get these looked at. So I booked him in to get him looked at, and here's the reality of having a dog. To book a dog in just to get looked at is 165, or depending on where you go, it might be cheaper, but I really actually like my vet office, because for one, I can get him in just before work or right after work kind of thing. Their hours work for me. And they just seem really kind and caring, and they really know what they're doing, I feel like. So anyways, I got him looked at, and I had shaven some of the hair around his bumps as well, and I had noticed some chunky fur and stuff like that too. And so anyways, when I got there, she had been like, oh hey, doesn't he have this eye thing, or it looks like he has this eye thing. And I was like, yes, I was actually aware of that. He had extra flap of skin in his eye that made his eyes leak, and apparently that's pretty common in golden doodles, and Wayne is part golden doodle, part Bouvier. Massive dog. A part of me is he is so huge, and people look at me and are like, how do you control your dog? And I'm like, I love that I have a big dog. I love it so much. Sometimes I'm just like, what the heck did I get myself into? I have a massive dog, but I love it. I would not want a tiny little rat dog. Sorry to the people who like and have tiny rat dogs. I love that I have a big dog. So anyways, that's apparently common in golden doodles. And so that I knew that I was going to have surgery for him for when he also got fixed. but so she was looking at his bumps on his head. She was like poking and prodding them a little bit and taking blood from them. And she was like, I feel like there's tufts of hair coming out of here. And I was like, yeah, I kind of noticed, like, when I was cutting around them, the fur, I was like, I noticed that there was, like, tufts of hair that, like, seemed kind of chunky. And she was like, your dog has ingrown hair. He's just the fluffiest dog ever and just has a ridiculous amount of ingrown hairs. And so, yeah, basically she suggested that it would be better to get him into surgery sooner than later, and she gave me like an estimate cost, which seemed like really good. But then once everything was fully added together, I got an estimated cost of like more. I guess reality, I don't mind telling people. Reality is it costs like $1,199 for the surgery itself, but then when you add in medication, I probably spent close to $1,200 to $300 kind of thing just on surgery and medication. I am very thankful that I have parents who like to try and help me out when they can. And I am also very thankful that I have a savings account, because if I did not have a savings account, I don't know what the heck I would have done. I like to talk like I'm really poor and I have nothing and I am like struggling to get by, which I feel like that is my reality. But I feel like at the same time, for a lot of people my age living on their own, working like a pretty normal paying job, like I think that I do way better than I feel like I do. Like, I probably have way more saved than most people my age on my own, or on their own. So, yeah. And I'm just continuing to try and get better at saving, because one day I'm going to have to buy a car. And according to one of my friends that has been looking into cars, they're even more ridiculously priced than when I first got my Kia. And so, yeah, I feel like my next big purchase will be a car again. So here's to trying to save money. But so anyways, this is a long story. So on the 22nd, I got him in for surgery. I felt so bad because, like, with work and everything, I had to drop him off on my lunch break the day before. So he had like half a day at the vet office with them. And so then, yeah, I had to drop him off the day before. And then he got his surgery on the 22nd, and yeah, he had like stitches kind of going this way and like stitches kind of going this way. He had his eye stitches done, and then he got fixed at the same time. So yeah, all of that, and then I had him on antibiotics from beforehand that finished out in 10 days kind of thing, and then he had eye drops. And giving eye drops as a single person on your own is freaking ridiculous. I have found a way to give him eye drops without having to waste so many eye drops as well. And now, because he loves cheese, so the cheese tax is, like, honestly a true thing. I have decided that I will reward him with cheese if he allows me to give him eye drops, because he loves cheese. So basically I grab out the bag of cheese and I grab out the eye drops, and he looks at me like, I want the cheese. And I'm like, yeah, let's get the eye drops first. So yeah, I don't give him like a whole crazy amount of cheese. But so anyways, he had the surgery. Everything seemed good. Everything seemed like it was healing. His cone is freaking ridiculous, and I'm not excited that we get it on for another 2 weeks. So yeah. Everything seemed good. His right eye was bothered from day one. Like, it was bleeding every once in a while, too. But, like, it still looked like it was healing good. So then on Tuesday, I noticed it bled again, which it had stopped bleeding for a while. But it did bleed again on Tuesday, so I just kept an eye on it. And then on Wednesday, it looked a little bit irritated on the underneath part. But it just looked like he had rubbed it, because he was managing to squish the cone against him and go like this sort of thing. So that like didn't help kind of thing. But obviously there was something bothering him in his eye for him to feel like he had to do that, because he was leaving his other eye completely alone. Like his other eye was not bothering him. He wasn't trying to scratch at the stitches in his head. It was just that eye that he was trying to get at. So then basically after that, like Wednesday, I saw it. It looked a little irritated. Came home from work, and he was like squinting, and there was like a chunk of skin like sticking out, and I was like, "What the heck is happening now? What's going on here?" So I called the vet. I explained everything to them, and they were pretty much just closing up. And so she suggested that I either take him to the animal hospital, which would be 165 again, because it was after hours, or she suggested to just bring him, or like send photos to the doctor, and the doctor would look at them and tell me how urgent it was. So pretty much that's what I chose to do, because I was like, I have literally just spent so much money on this dog's surgery. I cannot do the after hour pay. And I was just like hoping and praying he's okay. So anyways, I took some pictures, I sent them to the vet, and the doctor the next day was like, "Hey, can you come in today?" kind of thing. Like, we should get this looked at faster just because it is his eye. And that was my concern too. So then I had a car appointment that day because I had to get a belt fixed on my vehicle. And like, honestly, my vehicle sounds so much better now that that belt is fixed. And so I'm like, thank goodness I did that, because it's probably been needing to be fixed for like months now, probably since like November. So yeah, that's fixed and sounds really great now. But there goes some money again. And then yeah, so then right after that, I pretty much zoomed over to the animal hospital before like closing hours, basically got him looked at, and the doctor is so nice and so kind. Like, this doctor is the greatest doctor ever for vets. And he looked at him and he figured out what it was right away and what had happened. And like, basically the stitch came out, and like, he had this flap of skin, because like what he does is he like puts a flap of skin down over and sews that up, kind of thing, right? So that flap of skin came out. And so then he gave me options that we could let it heal how it is, and it might just be ugly and gross, or we could redo the surgery and fix it. And he was like talking and stuff like that about it, and I was just like, that part's gonna cost, hey? And he was like, no, not at all, because like, it had been bothering him from day one, so something had to have been like maybe poking him in the eye or something. So then he booked him in for the next day. I brought him in on like Friday morning, and he did the surgery, and then like, he had called me mid-morning to tell me that Wayne had gotten the incisions out from, or like, they had taken the stitches out from like here and here, kind of thing. And in doing that, like, when he woke up from his surgery, he reopened this stitch, and so they had to re-stitch it up. And then he was concerned that this one would open up in my time of taking him home. And so he was just like, I'm just really worried about that. But it looked really healed up. Like, then this was like a day before the 10 mark, or like 10-day mark. And I was told to bring him in 10 to 12 days after his stitches were like in and healed, right? And so really not much earlier, that it should have, you think, would have just been healed. But anyways, that happened. And then he also explained to me, for the eye surgery, what happened was that little flap of skin, I guess, lost like blood supply at the end. So he actually had to pull from like the inside of his eye up and like sew that kind of thing, because he had to take that little flap of skin off. So his eye looks a little bit like droopy at the moment, but it'll heal fine. So it was just neat, and I really appreciated it, that he like drew a picture and he explained it to me, and like how he talked to me about everything. Like, I just found that he was a really helpful vet, and he was really kind, and like called my dog handsome all the time. And so I was like, yeah, like, just a really great vet. And I'm just happy and like grateful that he was a surgeon for my dog and that he took such good care of him. So then I came home and like I had rehomed my buddy Nick, and in the midst of rehoming my buddy Nick, I still had Wayne in the car, and I just like got Nick from my apartment quickly, gave him over to his new family, and in doing that, Wayne had like a tiny little opening in this area where his stitches were, and I was like, great. So then I called the animal hospital and I talked to them and I told them about it, and they called the doctor that had done the surgeries on Wayne and talked to him, and then they called me they took me off hold and they talked to me and they were like, yeah, if you live in town, just turn around and come back. And I was like, okay. And I'm like, this is after hours. And I was like, just to make sure, considering this is after hours, do I get charged for this? And they were like, no, you literally came here, got him, turned around and came back. So you're good. And I was like, praise Jesus. So now he has stitches here again, and his one eye is still healing. This is the right, technically. So this eye, technically, is the one that is healed. This one is still healing. And he is now stuck in a cone for 2 more weeks, which means my poor puppy is in a cone for a whole month. And the cone is so freaking annoying. He doesn't realize it's on his head still and runs into me constantly. But he is such a sweet boy, and he is doing so well. He's a freaking champ through this. Yeah. I'm just like, yeah, I'm thankful that he is so good through this all, and that he is just chilling in my living room. For the longest time, because I usually crate him when I'm gone, so for like the whole first part of the week, I actually wasn't crating him. I just had video cameras in my living room, and I don't really allow him on the couches because he's so big, but he has claimed this couch behind me. But he also is not a huge fan of couches. He will go up, get himself comfy, sit for a little bit, then he'll decide to move, get comfy again, and then he'll realize, the floor's better, and he'll get down and go sit on the floor. But yeah, so he was doing so good until he destroyed those pillows. They don't look destroyed. He destroyed the corners of those pillows. And so then I was like, well, you're getting into things, and we don't want Boober Fraggle to be wrecked. So, I mean, I could very well just move Boober Fraggle. But so anyways, he is now crated again. But he is seeming super chill in his crate, and I don't know whether it's like because he's got a cone on his head and he really can't do as much, he's just like, gives up and just lays down, or if it's because I've gotten this like calming stuff that I can put on his food, and it's supposed to help with like gut health and like calming them down and stuff like that. I'm not quite sure, or if it's just because in general he's not feeling the greatest. But yeah, like, maybe it's a mix of everything. I don't really know. But he's doing good, and hopefully we're on the mend on week 2's here. These next 2 weeks. Hopefully we're on the mend. Yeah, so this is my dog update story. I don't usually do talking videos. Well, I say that, and I have a few on YouTube. Don't look at my YouTube. Just kidding. Yeah, so that's that. That's Wayne. If anyone else has any questions about him, or like any worries or concerns about him, feel free to ask. I am happy to explain. Like I said, I am thankful that the doctor that did his surgeries was so good to explain and was so kind and caring, and yeah. He will be my forever vet doctor that I will request to see, because Wayne is well taken care of, and yeah. Just here's to hoping and praying that he gets through this next 2 weeks and that his eye just continues to heal properly. So, yeah. All good.